Hello there, my name is Luke, and welcome to the non-league podcast. This is the number 4. It's the second one on this channel. We've had 2 on the Maidenhead fans channel, our guest today. Do you want to introduce yourself again?
Hello there. Check out my channel in the link in the description.
Yep, definitely do that. Some good non-league podcasts where we just ramble on about all things non-league. So let's get straight into it. We're going to start off with some scores from the last week. And we'll start off in the National League. Really notable one was Gateshead going away to Dagenham and Redbridge. Dagenham and Redbridge right up near the top of the league, and they lost 5-0 to Gateshead. What an emphatic victory. Gateshead, they've had a sort of up and down start. It was 1-0 at half time, then 4 goals in the second half ensured that they got a really impressive 5-0 victory and took that back up the long journey back up to the northeast. Another big scoreline in the National League was Lincoln City at home against Aldershot. Lincoln salvaging a draw right at the end, 90 plus something like 8 minutes at the end it was what was required for Matt Reed to get them a point. A 3-3 draw against Aldershot Town. Anything you'd like to add?
Well, what a result for Gateshead. Going to inform Dagenham and Redbridge, making the long journey from Newcastle down to Dagenham. That must have really pleased their fans. And one thing I've noticed is Forest Green Rovers, they have beaten Macclesfield Town 1-0 away to, I think they extended their lead to 9 points at the top of the National League, which is really good for them. But obviously some teams have some games in hand over them because they weren't involved in the FA Cup first round. And another game I've spotted is the attendance of 7,790 people who attended Tranmere Rovers versus Chester. Obviously a local derby. This one was a massive game.
Absolutely
Tranmere looked to
incredible,
win
yeah.
it when Andy Cook and Ben Tollett made them 2-1 up. And then in the 90th minute, Chester equalised with Ryan Assels. What a game for the neutral, definitely.
Definitely. That sort of crowd at non-league is just absolutely unheard of. Like the stereotype of having little teams with little grounds playing on mud pitches, that's definitely combated by Tranmere there with a nearly 8,000 crowd. That's just completely unheard of. But obviously, playing in poor pitches just gives a bit of character to non-league, in my opinion. So we'll move down into the National League North, and the first result that I'm going to talk about was a top of the table clash between Darlington and AFC Fylde. It was second versus first, and it ended all square, 1-1 draw. So Danny Rowe opened the scoring for AFC Fylde, absolutely quality goal, but Darlington did manage to get a goal back, and it ended with a 1-1 draw, and it means that Fylde stay 4 points clear at the top of the league ahead of Darlington. The second result is an incredible result for Tamworth. Harrogate on absolutely horrendous horrendous form, hosted Tamworth, and they were 3-1 up after 56 minutes. In fact, that 3-1 lead it was 3-2. That 3-2 lead lasted right until the 86th minute when Danny Newton got 2 goals in the last sort of 5 minutes to win 4-3 for Tamworth. Incredible result for them, and it's now, I think, 6 games without a win for Harrogate, who was second for so long, and it's 4 wins in a row for Tamworth. So, anything that you've noticed?
Well, I've noticed Stalybridge Celtic at home, they lost 4-2 to FC United of Manchester. That's a really good result for FC United of Manchester. Gil Christ got 2 goals, one in the 18th minute and one in the 63rd minute. That's a good result for them, definitely. And another massive game I've spotted is your team, Kidderminster Harriers, going away and unfortunately losing to Halifax Town, relegated obviously from the National League. Both of these teams, it was a tight clash, but it turned out to be Halifax getting on top on the day.
Yeah, a bit disappointed with that one. But it was always going to be a really hard task for Harriers to go up to Halifax and get a result. Halifax, a very physical team. Their clear tactic is to just boot the ball forward to their 6'7" striker in Tom Denton. That's their tactic. They're really strong at set pieces, and we couldn't deal with their physicality, and we couldn't play our own football, and they defended solidly, and we couldn't get anything out of the game. So anyway, moving on to the National League South. This is a league that you know a lot about, so do you want to start?
So let's start. And St Albans, the emphatic win 5-0 against Hungerford Town. Junior Moraes opens the scoring. He's a great player. He's being touted by many league clubs at the moment. He's a good player. I wish Maidenhead had a player like that. If we had him, we would definitely improve. And that's a really good result for them because they're second now. They're 7 points. Um, it's Maidenhead are top of the table, and then it's them, and there's a 7 points gap. But they've got a game in hand as they were involved in the FA Cup. And another massive game I'm having a look at is another win for Concord Rangers against Poole Town, who beat Chelmsford 4-0 at their own ground. I mean, Poole Town are definitely the Leicester City of this league. They're a really good side at home, but their away form is a lot less to speak about. Sam Surridge, their loanee from Bournemouth, he scored for them to make it 2-2. But then Tony Stokes for Concord Rangers, they're on form at the moment. They've just escaped the relegation places, makes it 3-2. I mean, what a result. And are there any other massive results you can see?
Well, the one that I look at is the 2-2 draw between Chelmsford and Hampton. So these are two teams that were both in the playoffs prior to kick-off, and it ended all square. A 93rd equaliser from Hampton. They've been a real surprise package of this season. They've been absolutely on fire, scoring loads of goals with Kabamba and Lowe up front. But Kabamba on the score sheet on that game against Chelmsford. Lowe is going to be leaving and going to Portsmouth in January, but I think they'll still be okay. Will they be able to stay at the top of the league? I don't know. So let's stay with talking about matches, and we'll move to a match that is literally just finished, and it's involving England C. So do you want to start?
Well, England C, they have beaten Estonia under-21s away at Estonia 2-1 with Jamal Lowe and Whitehouse scoring for them. I mean, Jamal Lowe, on his England C debut, he's really impressing. He's making a really good impression for his future employers at Portsmouth, and now they have reached the ICT final. So what's your thoughts on this?
Well, it's obviously really, really positive, considering that a team full of non-league players has managed to go and beat the under-21s of Estonia, which is really, really impressive. Yes, it might only be Estonia, but it's still a really good result and shows the strength of non-league football in England, and it just proves that that there is real quality in non-league, and it's not just like poor quality. There is some really, really good players that have this sort of ability. So let's move on and talk about some news off the pitch, and we'll start at Solihull Moors, who lost their manager Marcus Bignut. He went to Grimsby Town in League Two as their new manager, and Solihull have gone and stayed with the same sort of model, getting a young manager in, and it is Liam McDonald from Hednesford Town. He's been at Hednesford since the start of the season. They are a 7th tier side. They are top of the league. That's where he led them to. Really, really promising young manager. He was at Redditch in the same league before that. So he's a manager that's a real prospect in non-league, and I think he will go into Solihull and do a really, really good job, to be honest. So let's now go and talk about some transfers that have happened in the last week in non-league, and we'll start off with Moneybags Eastleigh, who have signed Ross Stern, a winger from Sutton United. He's been impressive this season. He was with Forest Green Rovers previously, 26 years old. Gone and signed for Moneybags Eastleigh. Maybe they're preparing for the departure of Luke Coulson, who's sort of their star player on the wing. Or maybe it's just Eastleigh showing off that they've got so much money. Is there any transfers that you've noticed?
Well, I've just noticed that Ebbsfleet United have agreed a 2-month loan deal for Sutton United defender Louis John. So this season he's played for Hampton and Richmond on loan, and he's just returned from loan on Hampton and Richmond to be loaned back to Ebbsfleet United. and now he could be playing against Hampton and Richmond because Ebbsfleet are playing Maidenhead United on Saturday, and then on Tuesday they're playing Hampton and Richmond. Massive signing for Ebbsfleet. Obviously they've got a lot of money. They can afford to pay his wages. He's a good player, definitely, and yeah, that's a good signing for them.
Definitely. So let's talk about Danny Holmes, who is a right back. He was at AFC filed on non-contract terms for until this point in the season. He's now gone and signed for York City on, I think, a contract until the end of the season. Really, really good sign in that. He's a very experienced defender. Got a lot of experience in the Football League as well. 27 years old, so he's not like past it yet. He's just at a good age to really make an impact at York City, and they're a team that is really, really struggling in the National League, and they seriously, seriously need to improve. Next transfer is another one involving Eastleigh. It's actually another winger. It is Alefi Santos coming on a transfer on loan until the 3rd of January 2017 on loan from Derby. Former youth player at Bristol Rovers. He decided to sign for Derby because he didn't want to come down to non-league when Bristol Rovers got relegated to the National League, and it's just ironic that if he would have stayed he probably would have been doing well, but no, he's back in non-league, exactly what he didn't want to do. So finally, I think, well, maybe not finally, but another transfer is George Elokobi, the beast. He is a centre-back, he is an absolute monster. He was at Wolves when they were in the Premier League. He's ridiculously strong. He's a very scary player, but he is with Braintree on loan. He's extended his loan, I think, until January. So he's away. He's on loan from Colchester, and I think it's an absolutely great signing.
That's a
So
really good signing.
it is
So let's
indeed.
move on to the FA Trophy, if it's all right.
Yep. So the FA Trophy. Let's talk about our two teams and talk about who they've drawn. So, do you want to go first?
So, Maidenhead United, out of all the teams you could have drawn in the FA Trophy, we've been drawn at home to Wealdstone of the National League South. They're a good team. They've got one famous fan, and that's really all there is to talk about it. Because the FA Trophy, in my opinion, is not really that important because my team, Maidenhead United, they are aiming for winning the league because they are currently 7 points clear of the National League South, second place. So they've got to focus on it. And yeah, so who have your team got?
Kidderminster Harriers, my team. We are at home to AFC Rushden Diamonds or Lincoln United. They've got a player replay. I really hope that AFC Rushden Diamonds win because there's a little bit of a rivalry from about 10 or 15 years ago between us and AFC, well, the original Rushden Diamonds before they went bankrupt. We played each other quite a lot when we were in the Football League and when we were in the conference. So, they're a team that Harriers fans don't particularly like, but we haven't played them in a long time because they went bankrupt, and this will be the first time potentially that we'll play the reformed team, and that's actually quite exciting. Like, I wasn't really very highly anticipating the FA Trophy draw because it's not a particularly brilliant competition. Obviously, it's a really good opportunity to get to Wembley, the only real realistic chance that most teams will have getting to Wembley in the National League North. So it's a great chance, but at this stage, it's nothing to really get excited about. But this could be a bit of an interesting match, and hopefully there'll be a decent crowd for this one, especially in the away end. Don't think men don't well. It could, I don't know which way it will go, but okay. So other teams that are playing in the FA Trophy, some interesting draws. First of all is Stocksbridge Park Steel's former team of Jamie Vardy playing against National League North strugglers Stalybridge Celtic. Other games that are happening, an interesting one is Chorley against Hednesford or Stafford Rangers. Hednesford and Stafford Rangers not too far apart geographically, a little bit of a rivalry, so be interesting to see who wins in that replay. Are there any fixtures that stand out to you?
Well, definitely Ebbsfleet United at home to Harrow Borough. Harrow Borough obviously very unlucky in the FA Cup. They lost 6-0 to Northampton away. What an unlucky result for them, but I think they could nick something from the game because I don't think that Harrow that Ebbsfleet are really concentrating on the FA Trophy. And another one is Hampton and Richmond Borough at home to Southern League Division 1 Central side, Royston Town. That's a good opportunity for Royston Town to win the game. I mean, you never know what could happen in this competition. It all comes down to the day, as they say.
Definitely, and it's a good chance for a team at that level to get somewhere and get their name on the map a little bit in the FA Trophy. Obviously, the FA Cup's gone now, but the FA Trophy's still a really good opportunity for those lower league sides. So that concludes this non-league podcast. If you've enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, not only to my channel, but you can go and listen to the other podcasts that we've done over on the Maidenhead fans channel. Link is in the description. So yeah, thanks for watching.
Thank you.